Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to some more Heart of the Swarm beta action. Today, a ZvZ, which is always fun times. Ling Bling Wars are likely. Roach, Muta, Hydra, Infester, all certainly good possibilities of what could be happening. So, let me introduce these two players. Down in the lower left position is the Red Zerg player, formerly on Team Evil Geniuses but now an independent agent. It is LzGaMeR. And now, in the top right, as the Blue Zerg, we do have Cella. So Cella and LZ are going to be playing on Howling Peak. And Howling Peak is a pretty weird map. Ultimately, just due to this. There's one entrance to your natural and two entrances to your natural. It doesn't matter too much in a mirror matchup, but it means zerging run-bys potentially could be a little bit frustrating. It's going to be harder to defend with banelings, because you can't just stick a couple of banelings here and think, oh, wait for those zerglings to come in the front, because they can just sneak through and deal some damage. So, what does this back entrance really mean? Well, there's one quick way through, which is through these rocks, but then of course destructible rocks have to be killed, so that can take a while. Otherwise, this watchtower marks where you can come around the long way through, and that really is a long path. So it's actually a lot longer in terms of rush distance, and that's how it's sort of balanced. But most players tend to just, well, sit further back and try and defend both areas at once, just in case. So that is fine. In terms of strategy from these two, no one's chucked down a spawning pool yet. Zed actually gone up to 16 supply and is going to chuck down the hatchery first. LZ goes for a hatchery on 15, as we can see. That's all pretty normal. I'm not worried, I'm not shocked. It's a fairly standard thing to be doing in ZvZ nowadays, especially at high level. On a typical ladder game, you may want to just make sure that you're very, very safe from any kind of early pull or anything like that, because there's always going to be the people who 6-pull you. But generally speaking, 15 hatch, very safe to get up. You follow it up with a spawning pool as soon as you can. So there we go, 16 pull, 15 hatch, 16 pull, very normal build. Gas first out of Cella, so 16 hatch. It was about a 17 gas, I think, and then a 17 pull as well. So that just means a very, very quick zergling speed, and my mouse just decided to completely trip out there. But yeah, normal gas timings from LZ, as you can see, but Cella's gas a bit earlier. That just means a quicker zergling speed. Also the option to get banelings out sooner, which some people like, especially when you've gone for that hatchery at 16 rather than 15. You know that your spawning pool is going to be a bit more delayed. Your opponent could be coming for some aggression, but from the scout, Cella knows that actually LZ's doing most of the normal stuff as well, the good things that we know and like. So all in all, this is just going to be a pretty standard mid-game sort of play, where not too much goes on for the early points, but being ZvZ, that could change very rapidly. The other important thing to note is how many drones go into gas, etc. So these eggs aren't actually rallied over to that gas. So one drone there at the moment. Meanwhile, only one drone in this gas as well for Cella. So not 3 drones straight away. So not a super quick zergling speed out of LZ. Cella pulled 2 out after starting the speed there. So that's fine. It's something that a lot of Zerg players will do. Keeping one in just allows a small trickle. Some people actually pull all of their drones out, and some people none. It just depends what your mid-game plan is. But LZ with only that one drone in gas, speed is going to be incredibly delayed, and that in itself just means that while speed is later, because you've only got one drone in there, you've got more drones mining, which means that work count wise, LZ should be able to take the lead. We see 2 queens are out for each player. 4 queens are going to be coming out for LZ, so that's going to help his defense with those 4 queens, and that is just a solid move. Cella getting up the spine caller, so is LZ though, so everything matching up nicely. There is the baning, there's 3 drones back in gas there. Still just the one drone in gas for LZ, who is just trickling in that gas. Still no speed. Speed almost finished for Cella before it's even starting for LZ, so very, very economically focused. And he's not taking that much of a huge drone lead. All he's really pulled out over his opponent is 2 additional queens. So he can start some creep spread, he can start making sure that he's got the map dominance, but a big speedling push now would be absolutely devastating to LZ, and that's something that he really needs to be careful of. This overlord could potentially get taken out. Cella now going up to all 4 gas very early on. could be to start Lair fairly soon. There is enough gas for it, so I'm waiting to see if Lair will get shut down, because Muta play incredibly strong in the beta just due to their health regeneration and the fact that you get big Muta on Muta battles, and generally speaking, as long as you don't lose the Mutalisk, they heal up so fast you can assemble a very large Mutalisk flock, which is very difficult to take down. LZ, he's also got his macro hatch up now very soon, but that Speedling comes in and actually sees that, wait, you've only got 2 drones and gas still, I don't see your spawning pool researching anything, but I know for a fact that you don't have speed because I've seen your Zerglings. So this is all turning out to be a pretty funky game. LZ now at 42 workers to just the 30 of Cella, because Cella pumping out a lot of Speedlings and a couple of Banelings, going to go for some aggression, and LZ is going to potentially struggle to hold that. Getting up the double evolution chamber, double upgrades will be coming down. Still on though, now getting up all 4 gas though, so we'll be starting that gas income a bit quicker. Less down for both players, still no speed, so LZ not even getting speed out at all this game, which is a very, very scary thing to see, because when you don't see speed, you're obviously like, oh, Speedlings could be very difficult for you to deal with, but LZ doesn't even have a Baneling nest at the moment, so that is incredibly scary to see. But he is getting up a second Spine Crawler. He's got the double Queen to wall off the ramp. The Speedling's coming around the back entrance, but LZ does already have an Overlord placed there. And does he see the Banelings morphing? He should do. Yep, so sees a couple of Banelings morphing in. That just means that he cancels the 2 from ones, only getting 2 right now. But LZ, he's got hardly anything to defend with. His Roach Warren is only half done. Cella getting the Spire out behind him, so we'll be going for Mutalisks. The 1-1 missile attack on its way, but LZ, he's going to struggle so much to defend this. He's got a complete wall off here, which means that all of the Zerglings have to funnel through this area. But with the Banelings there, with literally no Zerglings to defend with, LZ has 0 defensive units. There is a small gap there. The units can get through. The Queens are going to go down. The Banelings potentially going to detonate on those drones, or maybe just wait. Transfuses are hitting the Queens and Spines, doing the best they can, trying to pick this off. There goes the double Baneling detonation. Did get a couple of drones, but got cleaned out. And LZ didn't actually lose too much there, only losing 3 workers. That was a brilliant defense, considering it was only with Queens and Spines. The Overseer for Cella now coming in. We'll see that the Lair's down. No Spire though yet, so all that Lair is being used for at the moment is Roach Speed. The Spire is about 30 seconds away from completion. There's already a good amount of gas getting banked up, and 1,000 gas there. 3 more Spine Crawlers coming down, because seeing the Roach Warren, knowing that there's no Zergling speed, a big Roach push is very likely. And the way you defend that is with a lot of Spines. But the concern is always going to be, what if the Roaches come from the back? That is where this map becomes very, very funky indeed. So, we can see the Roaches gearing up at the front. Still the Queens there are sitting quite defensively. 7 Mutas now straight away in production, though going up to 8. Just not enough minerals actually to get all of this. But the extra macro hatch for LZ is going to be starting to make a difference. The 3rd hatchery on its way down for Cella now, wants to be taking that expansion. But the Roaches, they're coming up in greater number. We've also got a Nidus network in production, which instantly makes you 10 times more cool. More Queens coming out as well, so Queen and Roach will be the composition of choice for LZ. The anti-air from the Queen along with the transfuses do make it a very strong composition. The Mutas are now revealed, and this is now really up to LZ just to make sure that he can defend this quite nicely. But with so many Queens out, he shouldn't have too much of a problem with that. His drone count is now behind that of Cella's after the early lead. He hasn't really produced any drones for quite a while, and now currently supply blocked also due to these Mutalisks. Some Spore Crawlers are in production, just ready to try and help fend this off. Roaches running across the map, but unfortunately straight into the Mutalisks, and while they will get away with Roach Speed, we see that the Nidus network is complete. Where is the Nidus Worm going to get dropped? Is it going to be off the top here, trying to pick off the 3rd base? We'll wait to see. But of course, there it is, just as I was expecting. A Nidus network does come down. The Roaches up here getting pushed back, but the Nidus Worm is unbeknown. There's no Overlords around here for Cella. This 3rd base is going to be in a lot of problems very, very soon. The Roaches and Queens haven't yet loaded up into the Nidus network, but here we go as the Nidus Worm does complete. Where are the Mutalisks? They're just taking the map control. They are trying to clear out as much as they can, but instantly in one side, out the other, creep spread is starting to occur, and suddenly Cella is going to have to pull back. The Queens should do okay against the Mutalisks with a lot of transfuses banked up, but as the Muta count gets higher, it's going to become tougher and tougher to deal with. The Queens starting away with their damage. Where are those transfuses? None hitting yet. There goes one transfuse, another one. Mass chain transfuses are essential if you're going to deal with this. And with that, Cella abandons the third base, thinking, you know what, I cannot deal with that many queens and so much energy. Shame LZ missed that first transfuse though, because that would have been very, very important. So another Nidus network coming down, just moving them forward, trying to get ever closer towards his opponent's natural base. Cella in a lot of problems at the moment. Where are the units? Well, there's a good number of banelings, a good number of speedlings, and a huge number of spine crawlers. But with the muters, with those banelings, a good amount of burst damage can go down. The Nidus network is allowing for more reinforcements to come in for LZ, who does have a 43 supply advantage. That's pretty big. The queen count at 8 compared to the 17 mutalists. But in comes the engagement, in comes the banelings, just steam walking their way through, waddling all the way, trying to take out the queens as quickly as possible, because that's the anti-air. Once they are down, then of course we will see that Cella will be able to be victorious. But it's just how much damage those roaches are going to be able to do before that. All the queens do now go down, but the roaches have taken out all of the spine crawlers. A lot of drones potentially could be about to die as well. LZ just pushing straight up towards the main base. What is he going to prioritize? Will it be the Spire? Yes, it will. He does not want any more muters out. He wants to stop that muter flock from growing any larger. And with that, LZ is taking a good solid spot in this game. He's got some more roaches chipping away at the natural hatchery as well now. Drones getting taken out in the main base. This is quite problematic. But all while LZ is keeping his opponent pinned back, he's just able to produce more roaches, more queens. He's got +2 missile attack upgrade nearly complete. We do see Cella trying to remake that Spire. It has cleaned out all the roaches in the main, but the natural hatchery is getting awfully low, and if this gets sniped up, which it inevitably will now, that means that Cella is down to just 1 hatchery, 1 mining base, compared to the 2 mining bases and 3 hatcheries of LZ. LZ's production is just so much better than that of Cella. The problem is though, what about the muter counter attack? Well, it's not too much of a concern because spore crawlers are down everywhere, and these spore crawlers are doing 30 damage to biological. This is past the patch where spore crawlers deal the bonus damage to mutalisks, so that is very effective. The Nidus network, or the Nidus worm rather, should I say, does get taken down unfortunately, but the Spire still not back up. LZ transitioning into Hydras. Roach Hydra is going to be amazing here, and Cella just doesn't have the production needed, down to just 38 workers on 1 base, so a large amount of oversaturation here, and that just means that the income for LZ going to be so much better. In come the muters, they are coming straight forward. Where are the spore crawlers? Where are the queens? They are nowhere to be seen. The Hydra Den is nearly finished though. The Nidus network is getting taken out. The Roach is desperately trying to flee before it goes down, but quite a few did get lost in the abyss. And well, now we do see that those overlords trying to tuck up around the spore crawler and queens, trying to stay aligned. The queen count up at 6. That's some good anti-air. Spore crawler doing some nice damage as well. But now the Hydra Den is finished. Some Hydralisks should be in production. There we go, straight away 11. And this could be the beginning of the end for Cella. As soon as those Hydras pop, there's nothing these muters are going to be able to do. Desperately trying to get the most work out as possible. LZ now rebuilding that Nidus network because he likes that Nidus play. And everyone watching, I really hope you like that Nidus play as well. Muscular Arguments coming down. That's going to be the increased speed of creep essential if LZ wants to be sniping off these mutalisks in any way other than being just defensive. Another spore crawler getting built here. That is just making sure that he's safe. The muter count up at 21, and that is really going to be staying around that number. The gas income just not high enough off of only 2 geysers. The mineral income, well, that's going to start struggling as well. The natural base is back up though, so these 3rd and 4th gas geysers is going to be oh so essential. But with the muters, against Hydra, Queen, Roach, I don't think Cella's going to be able to hold on. More Hydralisks are in production because ultimately LZ knows his opponent doesn't have anything that is going to be able to deal some good damage against that, having taken out the 3rd and natural bases previously in his push. So the muters still flapping their way around, a whole ton of bats in the sky, just trying to find any potential overlords, and Nidus Worm is getting built in the center of the map. That's going to allow for those quick reinforcements. The Hydra's probably going to go straight into that Nidus, assuming they don't just rally forward, which apparently they are. So that Nidus network not going to be doing much, but LZ now at 141 supply to 107 of Cella. The 9 queens, the 24 Hydras and 17 roaches up against just 26 mutalisks and 3 banelings. Well, in comes the push. We see that LZ is in a nice position. The muters are going to get shredded by the Hydralisks very, very quickly indeed. The spine call is desperately trying to make a last stand, but is it going to be enough? I don't think it will. The banelings rolling in. The roaches need to tank up some more of that damage, but Hydra's unfortunately getting taken out there. The queens transfusing as quickly as they can. The Hydra's from the back as well, dealing some very nice damage. LZ is losing units, but not as quickly as Cella is right now. The transfusing is essential, and LZ just trying to keep those queens up for as long as possible. The last stand by the blue Zerg player, doing as much as he can, but unfortunately the muter count now down to just 9, which is not the critical match you need to engage an army like this head on. And we see with this, LZ is going to be victorious with his Roach Queen opening. He defended so well. There is a GG from Cella, and LZ won the game. So I hope you all enjoyed that. If you did, make sure you like the video, leave a cool comment, and of course subscribe. I get new games up daily. I'm Madals. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow, and bye for now.